Good afternoon, everyone. It's Father Neil. It's Thursday, March 4th, and I'm giving you my weekly update. First of all, on the sacramental front, we did have the rite of enrollment for our first communicants last weekend. It went very well, and we're preparing 35 children for First Communion on May 1st. We're also preparing for confirmation. We had a virtual retreat that also went very well, and we also have 35 children, I think it's 35 this year, that will be confirmed, and we'll have two celebrations, one on March 12th and one on March 13th to accommodate families. So we're working on that liturgy. That's proceeding. So that's good. We're continuing to do all of our normal funerals, Sunday masses. Please look at the Lenten and Easter schedule. We are adding a second Mass on Easter Sunday morning as we did on Christmas Day, and we'll also be making the overflow available if enough people sign up to go downstairs into the hall where they'll be able to hear and see what's going on upstairs. And of course, we'll send communion ministers down to bring them communion as well. So all those things are on the sign-up list, and please look at the schedule for all the extra things that we are doing during Lent and avail yourself of them if you can. So that's always good news. As far as the Archdiocese is concerned, while the economy and the COVID regulations have opened up a little bit due to the vaccine being out, and in spite of its slowness, it's being somewhat effective, and we've seen the positivity rates decline. Nonetheless, for right now, the guidelines for the Archdiocese have not changed, and we've got those, as I said last week, we have the instructions for Easter and Lent, and we'll abide by those. They did send us a communication this morning saying if that changes before Easter, we'll update you. So that's what we're acting on right now. So again, the current guidelines being what they are, we'll continue to pray that people continue to get vaccinated and that the economy and the safety continue to go up. A couple of other things going on. One of the things that several people have called and asked me about, and has to do primarily with the St. Sabina withholding their $100,000 monthly assessment from the Archdiocese, questioning how that works and why that works. And certainly I don't want to get into any of the situations in particular, but I thought this would be a good time to update everybody on exactly how some of the money is spent that all parishes pay. So first of all, the Archdiocese is conducting the normal investigation as they always do. We have no opinion, I have no opinion on Father Pfleger's guilt or innocence, but they want to continue the process to guarantee safety for everybody, and that's important. Certainly a parish should not, I think it's a grave moral evil to withhold payments to the Archdiocese for a number of reasons. First of all, what we are all billed for every month is not simply the assessment. So what we're billed for every month for the church and the school, we are billed for the assessment, which is 10% of the Sunday and Holy Day collections, and that money goes to support the ministries of the Archdiocese and their payroll for things, of course, that we can't do by ourselves. And I'll talk about that a little bit more later. Then what else we're billed for is, like all employers, or most employers, we provide medical coverage to all our employees, benefits, and we have to have property, casualty, and liability insurance. No parish could afford those on their own. So the Archdiocese is self-insured for all of those things, and they take the actuarial experience from the prior year to make a best guess estimate of how much it will cost the coming year, and then we're billed accordingly. And so, for example, our parish, our monthly billing for parish and school is about $55,000 a year, and that covers the medical insurance, the property and casualty insurance, as well as the parish assessment. So, like other employers who provide health insurance, it costs every parish pays $12,000 per employee for the employer share, above and beyond what anybody would pay out of their own paycheck, and then they have the appropriate deductibles, of course. So that's being billed monthly. It also covers maternity leave, vacation, sick days, and all the rest of that stuff. So all those pension, all those employee benefits are covered in that monthly billing. So failure to pay that is basically not paying your premiums. And the same, of course, is true with property and casualty insurance. If you have a homeowner's policy and you don't pay the premium, they'll cancel or suspend your coverage. And the way it works is we pay that monthly for both the parish and the school, and the deductible for us is only $1,000. So if there were a major catastrophe like flooding, we would file the claim and we would pay the first 1,000, and then the insurance would pay for the rest of it. Same is true with liability. If God forbid something were to happen to somebody, a brick would fall off the roof or something like that, and we sued the archdiocese or sued the parish, again, we would not be liable for that payment beyond the first $1,000. So withholding those payments is like withholding your own premiums. And from my perspective, a justice point of view would be the archdiocese would be perfectly morally right to simply cancel the coverage for all these St. Sabina employees and any policy coverage they have. I don't think it's morally right. It's justified, but it's not the moral thing to do because those people are our employees. They're our brothers and sisters, and we don't certainly want to make them pawns in any kind of political game. But that's really what it would amount to. Your employer, if they didn't pay your insurance, you would go to the hospital and find out you weren't covered. You'd be upset about that. If your homeowner's insurance policy was canceled and you had a liability, you'd be upset about that. So that's important. And so, by the way, most of that employee health coverage for the school comes through tuition and fundraisers, so that's not coming out of the Sunday collection for the parish. On the parish side, of course, it is because that's what it takes to operate the parish. And then getting back to the 10% that's paid to the archdiocese, that covers a lot of other things. So, for example, legal services. So we would not get the PPP loans if it hadn't been for them providing that opportunity. Same with HR and all those other functions, which we can't provide for ourselves. So that money goes to pay their salaries for the services they provide. So I hope that gives everybody a little better picture of where a lot of that money goes on a monthly basis, an annual basis. So that's important that you know that. As far as Renew My Church is concerned, the Presbyterial Council did meet on Tuesday, and my understanding is, though I was not present, that the recommendation to the Cardinal was to make no changes, and they're expecting the Cardinal to send out a letter today or tomorrow. I've not yet seen it. Again, reiterating that from the original decree, no changes, but again, no parish is going to be closed. Both our school and St. Constance School, both our parish church and St. Constance Church will remain open, and there are no plans. It's not a end run for something a few years from now to close the churches. There's no plans to do that. The hope is that when we come together, we'll be able to do things to reach more people to make all of our churches viable. But as you may or may not know from the financials, that both St. Constance and St. Robert Bellarmine are slightly in the red on an operating basis, and both of our schools are subsidized. St. Constance School by Big Shoulders, a little bit from the parish, and then our school is currently subsidized out of the parish savings, which we obviously need to address as we go through the budget cycle moving forward. So that's, as far as I know, anything with the Renew My Church. The Cardinal, the bishops, and the priest placement board will be meeting on March 18th. We got that communication yesterday for pastor assignments. So hopefully by the 18th or shortly thereafter, all the pastors will be named for the parishes. We could hear before that, but we may not. And as I said last week, it's quite likely that I will not be the pastor from everything we've been told. So I'm hoping that they'll place me somewhere. And if not, then I'll go into the associate change process, which may take, another month or two to get that resolved. So that's the update on the decree. Evidently, there will be no changes. So the merger will go through as planned on July 1st. Again, I don't expect there to be any major changes immediately because we'll obviously pick a new name, we'll have a new pastor, but it will take a while to figure out mass schedules and personnel needs and combining all the records and all the financials and all that other stuff. All that stuff administratively is complicated and it's detail-oriented, but itself is fairly simple in terms of what needs to be done. It just takes a long time. Far more important is how we continue to merge the parish communities to become one parish serving all the people, American nationals and obviously Polish people who need to be celebrating their sacraments and their faith life in their native language. We want to embrace all of that. So that's important. So we want to continue to pray for the people of St. Constance as well as ourselves that this unification goes well. And again, I want to pray for the people and our neighbors that are in the group that were in the grouping originally as well. So that would be St. Bartholomew's, St. Paschal's, that goes well. But also, again, to remember the people of Our Lady of Victory who know for sure that they are losing their parish. They're our neighbors. We've been very active with them, and this is very devastating to them. And so we want to do whatever we can to welcome them to our parish, or certainly to support them as they go through this difficult process. So in the meantime, the weather's getting better and things are starting to look up. And hopefully we'll see some of you this weekend. Don't forget to register for the masses and the special events, and to volunteer if you can. In the meantime, have a wonderful weekend, and God bless you all.